I really hope that this video is helpful for all those that are trying to learn how to tan. This is my system on how I tan. It is definitely just a primer. It is something to get you started that you can improve on and change, and it's just a system that I've used for some time now with quite a bit of success. I'm not a professional video maker, so it actually may be kind of a long video, and even with the length that it's at, I'm just telling you what I do, and I'm not going into all the nuances of every step. I really hope that you'll get something out of it, and here we go. I really didn't know how to do this video, but I'm gonna do it. And first thing you gotta have is your critter. I actually have a bobcat somebody just gave me, and I'm gonna skin it. It's good skinning stuff. Let's skin it. Okay, so the biggest thing I found in my process is getting the skin really fleshed well, and then that's probably the biggest thing, so that the salt can penetrate it. I'm actually taxidermying this bobcat, so I'm going to split the lips and ears and eyes and stuff. I'll do that. And I do that first before I flesh it. Okay, at this point, after I've split the ears really good and get the lips really all the way, the nose all the way, the eyes all the way, split. Then I flesh it, because I flesh it with the power washer. So, and that people will tell you that's not good, or some will say it's great. So everybody's got to decide that for themselves. I actually have more to do on this bobcat as far as the feet, and so I'm gonna freeze this and put this on pause. I have this creature that someone gave me. It's a coatimundi. Anyway, so that's what I'm about to flesh, and because that would be the next thing that I would do if this bobcat were ready. I would flesh it this way. So we're gonna flesh it this. It's super windy here today, so this is my fleshing beam. I just made it out of a large PVC pipe that I've found in a junkyard type situation, and just rigged it up to where it stands up. I point the end of it up. That was advantageous to get small stuff. And so it's just like a fleshing beam. You spin it around and get it on there. Here it is, kind of midstream. Sorry again for the wind. To me, this is the biggest difference maker, to get all this flesh off, all the way down to where it's just smooth white. I mean, it's just skin, all the fat, all the flesh. Make sure to do the tails if you can. I know that's kind of difficult. This is a crazy long-tailed creature here. You'll always have tiny little bits, but when you thin it on your fleshing machine, that'll all go. It'll be smooth. So again, you can kind of see the difference. It starts out like that, but if you use a good fleshing system, whether you're awesome with a knife, maybe you are awesome with a knife, or whether you just get after it with the old power washer, you got to get all that off. Another advantage is the speed. That took me maybe 10 minutes, but probably not. Probably between 5 and 10. And a huge advantage, it just gets all the way down. It just gets it all the way down. This is towards the head. It's hard to get the head with the power washer. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. And yeah, totally white. That's what you're looking for after you flush it. The next thing I do is I always wash them. It helps with smell, helps with dirt and blood that really gets in the pickle, and just not only does it make the pickle really dirty, but to me it's harder to maintain the pH on the pickle. I found this stuff at the store. People are gonna be like, you're crazy, you're an idiot. But it's neutral pH, and I've tested the pH, so I know that it's true. And I've never had a problem with it. It cleans really good, and again, it's neutral pH. It's not a taxidermy product, and by far the stuff that you can order, all the degreasers and detergents for taxidermy, are awesome. They're great. They're pretty expensive, but sometimes it's just really worth it. You're already doing a big order, you got a big customer, just spend the money. Get the stuff from the taxidermy places, McKinsey and all the others. There's 1,000 of them. So yeah, not knocking the taxidermy products, they're supreme, but I can get this at Lowe's and be back at the house and washing skins, you know. So that's what I do. So I'm gonna, you know, just dump a bunch of this stuff in here, and I'm just gonna wash it. Again, I can't really film this because it's impossible. I'm a solo operation here, so I'm just gonna wash it by hand, you know. And then I just wash it, and then I rinse it, and then the water's just dark and bloody and dirty, and then I just keep rinsing it until the water's clear. So yeah, this is what we're looking for. I mean, the water will be absolutely filthy at first. I mean, it will be crazy. And the biggest thing is all that stuff goes into your pickle, and it's just very difficult to keep the pH of the pickle right when you just got dirt and blood, all this other junk in it. So now that it's soaking wet, heavy duty moisture, we need to wring it out. And I use an old washing machine and a spin cycle. Ye old washing machine, find them for free that someone's throwing away. That kind of thing. I mean, I don't even have water hooked up to it. I just use it. I got the drain. I use it to get as much moisture out as possible. It really helps speed up the salting. So I'm just gonna put it on spin. This thing, like I said, someone was getting rid of it. I gotta manually kick it up. Yeah. So I kicked it up. A lot of these small, tiny skins, they don't really. It's in there still, you know, at the bottom, and you don't hardly see anything come out. On like a deer skin, you're gonna see a bunch come out. So yeah, just let it spin out. So you can see the water that came out. Not much. It's tiny. But it definitely, like you can tell, like it got a lot of moisture out. Bunch. What I've found is on the next thing of salting, if you don't get a lot of the moisture out, you have to salt a long time just to get that moisture out that we just got out in a few minutes. So you may spend 24 hours, 36 hours just getting the moisture out that is excess. Then your skin will start to salt and harden up. So it's just something to think about. Okay, the next step is to salt it, and so I'll just take it, and I just have this big tub, and I use pieces of wood so that it drains at an angle. I've got different things in different stages here. This one's starting to get hard a little bit. I hang it. I also have this hanging thing that hangs over the tub. That's kind of helpful. And then this is for just the initial draining. This is a bobcat. It's starting to get stiff, but still pretty flexible actually. And so a lot of times I just leave it overnight, and then the next day I unroll it and salt it some more. This one's getting so good that it's probably ready to hang like this. The hanging is like the last step where it starts to really get air around it and dry. I just use a ton of salt. It's like snow. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with this one too, is just salt it. And the first step is to not have it flesh out like this. The first one you want to do flesh to flesh, and you salt the mess out of it and roll it up like a sleeping bag. And then once it's rolled up, then you just set it down into to where it'll drain. And that's the first step. And then you just keep messing with it each day a little bit until it starts to get pretty hard and you can dry it. And then after it starts to get really decently hard, you can put it in boxes. Some people put thermoses, but you can see this booger here is hard. So that's the salting step. So there's our critter rolled up like a sleeping bag, and skin to skin, hair out. And that's what I do for the first day. If it's really small, it's shorter amount of time, and the bigger, the longer amount of time, till it seems like it's starting to kind of plateau. Then I turn it flesh out, hair to hair, and I do it some more. I still roll it up again like a sleeping bag, put all as much salt in as I can, and there just seems to be a place where it just plateaus, and then it doesn't seem to be drying out anymore. That's when I hang it. And once it's hanging, and like, again, if you do this step at first, it actually doesn't seem to work as fast. So it's a weird thing where like this speeds it up and then stops working, sort of. I'm sure it'll eventually work. Then getting the flesh side out and air around it speeds it up at the end. And then it'll start to stiffen up. Like this one's starting to get pretty stiff, hanging. And then this one, as a bobcat, I just hung it up, and it's not super stiff yet, but it's dry. I mean, it's definitely salted, really dry. Like there's not a ton of moisture, and the moisture that is in it is salted. So it's like salt water. But then eventually you'll get to this where it's hard as a rock. So then once you're comfortable with it, you don't have to get it that hard, but once you're comfortable with it, you're ready to rehydrate. And so One of the biggest advantages to salting is it pulls out all the bad moisture and all the dirt and all the blood, so that when you pickle this skin, it doesn't have any of that in there. So then what you're gonna do, oh, of course this one's all stuck in there, but you're gonna get your skin out and you're gonna put it into water, straight water. It's tempting to want to put it into salt water, but it actually slows it down. It's actually more dangerous. It feels weird to put a skin into water and you're like, oh, what am I doing here? And on these hard skins, it can take 24 hours easy. And one thing that you can use is some sort of relaxer. So actually mine's way in the back there. Relax R is a good one that helps for rehydration, but they have a bunch of them out there. So, and you put the specified amount in there and it actually helps to soften it up. And once that skin isn't stiff at all and it's super plump, then it's ready to go into the pickle. Then, once it's rehydrated, wet, ready to go, you place it into the pickle. The pickle is an acid salt solution that prepares the skin for tanning, and it also prepares the skin for thinning because it plumps it up. And it's all it is acid and water. I like safety acid from TASCO, but of course there's McKinsey has theirs, and they're kind of all the same, but the liquid ones really do seem to work better. And so it's like a ½ ounce of acid and a pound of salt for each gallon. And you want to use a lot. Like I usually have 10 gallons at any time, and sometimes more. Sometimes 12, 13 gallons. It seems like the more pickle you use, the easier it is to keep it at a pH of 1.5 or 1, just under 2. So there's a lot of instructions online and a lot of videos on how to make pickles. I use this stuff here to keep the pH and make sure that the pH is, I try to keep it at 1.5. So we'll see here. Put this down here and see. We're gonna dip this in and bada boom, 1.5, maybe a little less. So that's good. So you put the skin, after it's rehydrated from being salted, you put it into here for at least 3 days. Sometimes a little less, but you're looking again for it to be super plump in that pickle. And then you take it out and you take it to thin it. So 3 days. So around day 3 of the pickle is when you can shave it and thin it down. Now, it's around day 3, could be a little earlier, probably not much later. The biggest thing is you'll see it. I mean, that skin in that pickle after 3 days just gets plump like a pillow. It's just like fat, swole up, kind of like me sometimes. So then again, I wish I had a skin. It's just I'm trying to make this and help somebody. Then you can get to your fleshing machine. I use one of those small lip ones. I have had a lot of good success with that. So again, you'll take the whole skin and you'll just drag it across here. There's 2 guards, you know, and then there's a depth that's set. So mine's at like a 1/4 inch right now. You can do different things for different situations, you know, less aggressive, more aggressive, stuff like that. And you just drag it across here, and you're looking at the color of the skin. That's the biggest thing. Some stuff gets really blue. They call it the blue. Some stuff gets more brown. Some stuff, it's just like on the face, it stays white close to the edge. You just got to be really careful. Keep going, and before you know it, you'll get it pretty thin. So after you have your shaved skin, now you go back and you put it in the pickle. I said pickle, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of skins I don't degrease. So that's just me. Some people have maybe swear by degreasing every single thing they ever touch. I'd save this for the greasiest stuff. And so at this point, you've shaven it, you can degrease it. I even mix them up in 5-gallon buckets. And you mix it up per instructions. Do it for like half an hour to an hour. Then go ahead and pull it out and put it back into the pickle. So we've shaved it, and we bring it back to the pickle for 24 hours at least. You could even leave it a few days. And then after that, you've got a thin skin. It's thoroughly pickled. It's ready to tan. So you want to neutralize it. Again, all these instructions are online. You know, you don't need this video for that. But of course, you just use baking soda. I think it's like 1 ounce of baking soda per gallon of water. I usually only neutralize shorter amounts of time. Man, again, people will debate you to the core on what gives the best stretch and the best quality, longer, shorter. I mean, I do like 15 minutes on a deer cape. That's it. I don't want to do it much longer than that. So anyway, you neutralize it. You just have to figure that out. You just have to experiment, figure that out. And then once you neutralize it, you can pull it out of that solution and just rinse it off and get it ready to tan. For tanning, I use EZ-100. There's a couple of bags up there. And I get it from TASCO. And to me, it's just the easiest way to do it, because instead of brushing it on, I never miss any of the skin, because it's one of those soak in tans. So this is a lot like the pickle. You just mix up the tan, the EZ-100, and you mix up the salt. You know, they give you all the instructions about how much. And I always add a little bit of acid, because they say that this stuff tans the best at a pH of 4. So, you know, I experiment with that, and I use that same acid that I used in the pickle. I just douse it, and then for that, I use these higher pH readings, because those other strips only go up to 3. These go up 1 to 14. I don't think they're as accurate, but yeah, I use that. Try to get this tan solution. It's going to end up looking a lot like a pickle. It'll look so similar to this once it's all mixed up. And so you have that. You have a tanning solution with this EZ-100, the salt, a little acid to get the pH right. And then you just let the skin soak in it for 24 hours, a full day. I do. So after 24 hours, you just pull your skin out of the tan, wash it off. At this point, it's tanned. To get it soft, really get it soft, you want to oil it. And it's like a mixture of oiling and sweating it. So now you've tanned, You let it drain for not a terribly long time. You don't want it too dry, like 20 minutes. Then you mix this stuff up. I use McKinsey all the time. There's other ones. And there's a mixture. It says use 2 parts of warm water and 1 part of this. And you just oil it. Oil it, oil it, oil it. Every square inch of it. And then you put it skin side to skin. So if it's an open thing like this, you hit it skin to skin, and then again you'd roll it up like a sleeping bag. And then you put this in a bag, like in a black trash bag, and just tuck it away for several hours, 6, 7, 8 hours. Just forget about it. And then come back and get it back out. Now for the absolute last step before breaking it. And again, I don't have a skin to do this today, but I have an old dryer that I have just eliminated the heating element. I just cut it all the way out, and I just have it to where it turns on. And I use corn cob. I found this at Atwood's, but they don't carry it anymore, so I'm kind of really hoping to find more just like it, because I like the color that it leaves on the leather. Anyway, so it tosses around in here. I have had trouble with it getting clogged up, and then I clogged that side on purpose. I'm just trying to figure out that, but anyway, I just keep throwing more corn cob in here and it works. And you're gonna have to experiment to know how long. Like if you're just mounting something, you don't want to do it very long, but like 15 minutes. But if you're breaking something, you may do it for 45 minutes or an hour and then stop, because I've noticed that you can't really get it too soft if you do this for too long. You have to start breaking it and oiling it to get it really soft. So yeah, it's like, I don't even know the science as far as this many hours for this big a skin. I mean, I just kind of look at the skin as it's going. Is it getting too dry? Okay, is it time to break it some more? Is it too wet? Just a lot of different factors. The size of the skin. Yeah. So then it's to breaking it, and I use oil again, some more of that same oil, and I lather it on. And at first I just break it with a stick. I actually have something that's thicker than this, but I just sit there and I just work it. Boom, boom. I work that oil in, and I pick it up and I stretch it with my hands, and then after I do that a while, I'll find something pointy, like the edge of my deck out there. I have a table. I'll just sit there and work it. And you just have to break it for a long time. But it'll eventually, this is a deer. This is my son's first deer. And you can see it's pretty, I mean, it's soft for a deer. All deer, I mean, I don't have a staking machine, and I also probably could have been a little bit more aggressive on this one to get it a little thinner, but I was trying to make sure not to mess up my son's trophy. So, but it's soft, I mean, and yeah, you just break it until it's dry and soft. And that is it. I hope you found this informative. I hope it was helpful. It may have left a lot more questions. It probably did. But hopefully this gets you started, and you really will have to take something like this and apply it and try it and bump your head along the way. You may ask, do I have to do all those steps? Well, I would. That's why I showed them to you. I started tanning, trying to skip as many steps as I could and just get it done, you know. And I got a lot of poor results, you know, stiff skins and skins that still had funky surfaces on them, you know, all that, you know. So, yeah, this is the way that I do it, and people asked, so I wanted to share it. Thanks.